So there are lots of reflexes that we need to study. Here, biceps muscle, there is flexion, so there is contraction of the biceps muscle, but there is relaxation of the triceps muscle. The arc used to withdraw the limb from aversive stimulus. Crossed extensor reflex, there is activation of extensor muscles and inhibition of flexors on the opposite side. Stretch reflex, ये लाइन गाती हो सुनिरहेछ तिमीहरूले Are you able to hear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you. So let's continue. You can see here the numbering is done. We are taking the example of the stretch reflex, the knee reflex, knee jerk. We strike on the patellar tendon here. What happens? The impulses go. Okay, then what happens? Contraction of the quadriceps femoris muscles occurs, and there is relaxation of the hamstring muscles. This is reciprocal inhibition. Then, Golgi tendon reflex. When there is too much load on the muscle, and there is a chance of the muscle to rupture, at that time the Golgi tendon gets activated and muscle relaxation automatically happens. That is called Golgi tendon reflex. Okay. This is reciprocal inhibition, the same picture. This is withdrawal reflex. Okay. When there is a painful stimuli, we perceive it. Okay. Center analyzes it and then the hand is withdrawn. This is the motor nerve. Okay. This is the withdrawal reflex. Similarly, from hot object also, when we touch, hand is withdrawn. The main mechanism is withdrawal reflex. Same thing here also, painful stimuli by the pin present here. This is a picture from textbook Canon. In this picture, two reflexes are shown. One is the stretch reflex, which stimulates the muscle spindle, which activates 1A afferent fibers. 1A afferent fibers are this one. See, 1A afferent fibers. Sorry, 1A afferent fibers. They are going from the muscle spindle. Okay. When we tap the biceps muscle, it activates the 1A afferent fibers, that is 1A sensory neurons, and the impulse is carried to the dorsal horn, and then it goes to the motor neuron, and then there is contraction of the muscle, isn't it? So that is stretch reflex. But if we go on adding weight, okay, and the tension in the muscle increases, Golgi tendon organ gets activated. Golgi tendon organ is present in this region. Okay, and when Golgi tendon organ becomes stimulated, the fibers, the nerve fibers that carry information are the 1B fibers going from the Golgi tendon. They carry the information to the central nervous system. Okay, and there is an interneuron. This interneuron produces inhibitory neurotransmitter glycine, and glycine inhibits the motor neuron. So when it inhibits the motor neuron, there will be no contraction. That means there will be relaxation of the muscles. So the tension that was developed in the muscle, it gets relaxed. Okay. So this is a very favorite picture of your examiners. Please try to remember. This is Golgi tendon organ in a magnified form. The knee jerk reflex. Okay. This is withdrawal reflex, crossed extensor reflex. Okay, so I'd like to tell you a few basic things. That is, whenever we are clinically examining a patient, what we need to do is, first and foremost, we have to take consent from the patient. Please remember, when we are doing clinical examination, we have to be on the right side of the patient. If we are examining on the bedside, then we have to be on the right side of the bed. Okay. If we are doing with a patient sitting in our clinic, we should be standing on the right side of the patient. Okay. After that, since nervous system is bilaterally symmetrical, we should not forget to examine on both the sides. So there are three things that we should remember by now. One is we have to be on the right side of the patient, we have to take consent from the patient, and we have to examine bilaterally. That means on the right side as well as on the left side. After doing this much, what we do is we ask the patient to cooperate and we ask the patient to look in the other direction. And then, for example, if we are doing the knee reflex, we ask the patient to cross the leg, be seated with a crossed leg, and then we feel for the patellar tendon. Okay, and we put our palm of another hand, of the left hand, on the quadriceps muscle, and with the right hand we tap on the patellar tendon with the help of a percussion hammer. As we tap, the movement should be from the wrist joint. The movement should not be from the elbow joint. Okay, it comes with practice. So when you come to practical classes, try to do the reflexes again and again and again. Then the movement will be from the wrist joint. Okay, so when we tap on the patellar tendon, what happens is we feel on our left hand, which is resting on the quadriceps muscle of the subject, we feel contraction. Okay, so this is what is known as deep reflex. The receptor of this reflex is muscle spindle. It is not tendon. Okay, its name is tendon reflex or deep tendon reflex or muscle stretch reflex or monosynaptic reflex or myotatic reflex. But where is the receptor? Receptor is in the muscle spindle. Okay. Then after examining on the right leg, we should not forget to examine on the left leg. And when we are examining on the left leg, we have to be on the right side of the patient. We should not be in front of the patient, or we should not be on the left side of the patient. Why? Because we have studied that deep reflexes, they become exaggerated in disease condition like upper motor neuron disease, upper motor neuron lesion, stroke, in hemiplegia. Okay, in these conditions, what happens? Knee jerk, that is the deep reflexes, they become exaggerated. So if we are sitting in front of the patient, then we will be hit. Okay, and moreover, if you do by being in front of a patient, you get 0 marks. Instant 0 comes, which is not very tasty, isn't it? So that's why always make it a point that when you are examining, be on the right side of the patient. So after you have examined the right side of the patient, right knee of the patient, now ask the patient to be seated with the left leg cross, in a cross leg position, and then you start examining the left leg. You feel for the patellar tendon and do the same procedure. And after you have completed examining the left knee also, you must state the result. If you do not state the result, you do not get full marks, because it is also a part of the examination. So supposing you have got the reflex, you felt the muscle contraction on both the sides, then you have to say result is the deep reflex, that is the knee reflex in this case, on knee reflex is intact on both the sides. That means knee reflex is present on right side also, left side also. Okay, so you have to say knee reflex is intact on both sides. So that will complete your examination. So whenever you come for practical examinations, you feel that you should get full marks. But sometimes we are in so much hurry that we forget to do one of these smaller points. So let me tell you what are the points that we should not forget. First and foremost, be on the right side of the patient. Second, you have to take consent from the patient. Third, you have to keep in mind that you will do bilateral examination. Then, depending upon which jerk you are doing, if you are doing knee jerk, ask the patient to be cross-legged. If you are doing examination in the patient who is in a seated position in a chair, if you are examining on a patient on the bedside, then you can do without the patient having to cross the leg. Okay, then feel for the patellar tendon. Put your hands on quadriceps muscles. Okay, so that you can feel the contraction, and tap with the percussion hammer on the patellar tendon. Then you will feel the contraction on the quadriceps muscles if the reflex is elicited. But sometimes, if the reflex is not elicited, we should do reinforcement or Jendrassic's maneuver. That means we ask the patient to clench the teeth. Either clench the teeth or interlock the fingers and pull the hands in opposite direction. When the patient does this, the gamma firing, that is the firing of the gamma motor neurons, is increased, and that helps to elicit the reflex. Okay, so that is the mechanism of Jendrassic's maneuver. So supposing after doing Jendrassic's maneuver, knee jerk is elicited. After that, we do examine knee jerk on the left side. Okay, then you have to say the root when you are stating the result, you have to say knee jerk is intact on both sides, both left and right side. And if the examiner asks you what is the root value, you have to say the root value of knee jerk is L2, L3, L4. Okay, the root values of deep reflexes are very, very important. Let me revise it for you. For biceps reflex, biceps jerk, it is C5, C6. For brachioradialis or supinator reflex, the root value is C5, C6. For triceps, it is C6, C7. For knee jerk, it is L2, L3, L4. For ankle jerk, it is S1 and S2. Okay, so this much I have to tell you. I hope you followed what I was talking to you. And this is the Babinski sign. This is the superficial reflex. Another superficial reflex can be done on the abdominal region, upper abdominal area and lower abdominal area. Okay. So this much for today, class. Is there any question?